Last month, Pinterest received a hearty welcome to Wall Street. With the bell rung and the IPO done, should home gamers put a pin in this newly public stock? Or can this social media striver create a delightful tableau in your portfolio?
I spent months warning you about this IPO cycle. How so many of these companies were coming public with nosebleed valuations. Hey, come on, we know it. The bloom is off the rose. And even the hottest stocks in the class of 2019, they're starting to cool down. Take Pinterest, the online vision board turned social media platform. This stock roared right out of the gate and kept up its momentum for a couple of weeks, despite some speed bumps, until it reported last night. Pinterest stock got slammed because it spent a lot of money acquiring new customers at an amazing rate, something that I think makes perfect sense, given that the company's growing like a weed. I think the stock itself just got too hot, not the company. I like this pullback as a buying opportunity and one of the best names to come public in this recent spate of deals. Earlier today, we sat down with Ben Silbermann. He's the co-founder and CEO of Pinterest. I think you'll like this. Take a look. Ben, being public is almost antithetical to what I think Pinterest is about, because you have to be showy, you have to be promotional. How are you dealing with the concept of being public versus who you guys are?
Well, first, Jim, thanks just for having me on the show.
Oh, sure.
I really, really appreciate it. It's definitely a new experience for us. We've been public for about a month now. I've just been trying to keep us focused on where we got started and, with the users that really enjoy the service. A lot of people aren't familiar with Pinterest yet, but...
Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with it, it's really a service it's about giving you personal inspiration. It's a discovery platform. So people use it to get inspired and plan things for their future. Everything from the meals they cook to the clothes they might want to wear. Sometimes people will redecorate a home. And it's a service that's a little bit different than a lot of the other online services because it's about you. It's about your interests, your aspirations, your future. It's not as much about keeping up with your friends or following celebrities or reading the news.
So you're not showing off yourself, you're exploring.
Yeah, it's really a personal service. And I think that is something that's really needed these days. I use social media. I have Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ways to keep up with my friends and family. There aren't that many services that are just about me and what do I want to do, and I feel like I can think without having other people kind of watching what I'm doing, what I might want to do in the future.
I look at what numbers came out, and the one that pops at me, but of course you're so humble, it's ridiculous, frankly. A healthy revenue growth of 54%. That's a spectacular revenue growth. How is that possible? That is an amazing, amazing trajectory.
Yeah, we were really happy with the growth this year. I think what it comes down to is on Pinterest, there's a really close alignment between what users are there to do. They're there to plan their future and get inspiration, and what businesses are there to do because they're there to inspire new customers. And that alignment has been just really important as we build out advertising solutions. If you think about ads on the internet, often they're relevant, but they're not actually helping you do what you want to do. You don't need ads to talk to your friends. You don't need ads to watch the news or to watch a video. But if, for example, you're finding new clothes to wear, or if you're redecorating your house, ads can actually be really, really helpful to turn that inspiration into something in your real life.
I look at what you're doing as empowerment. There are a lot of people who have really good ideas, small, medium-sized business people on Etsy and on Shopify, but we can't find them. To me, if you have 200 billion ideas, you're going to be able to find a way to get yourself known. Small and medium-sized businesses are really your sweet spot.
It's something that we're working really hard on. I'm a huge fan of small, medium-sized businesses, often the most interesting products, the most interesting services. And Pinterest offers them this great chance to reach people in a really authentic way. They don't have to think about how do I interrupt their conversations with friends or how do I shout. They can really represent themselves through the things that they make. So inside the company, we're really working hard to build simple tools so small and medium-sized businesses can actually advertise easily on Pinterest, reach their customers, and then make sure they can measure those results.
There's this weird thing, Ben. It's when I ask people about your company, they always come back with this concept, Wall Street people, I'm sorry, not real people, well, simulations, and they say they're too nice. Can you be too nice?
I don't know. I've never really thought about being nice and being a successful business as at odds with each other. It's kind of like if someone told me that guy's too funny to be a good basketball player.
That's good.
I think that what is true about Pinterest and about the way that we run the company is we're really focused on that core idea of inspiration. So our brand, our service, it's all designed to make you feel like you can do things. It's not there to kind of cut you down. And I think the company inside and the culture and the way we try to project ourselves is meant to reflect that as well.
Well, I think that you make a really good pair with Todd Morgenfeld, because and I urge people, if they're going to buy the stock, please listen to the earnings call. He talks about the metrics that, frankly, are what Wall Street people understand: new users, engagement, churn. All of those are terrific for you in the last year.
Yeah, we've been really excited. Users grew 22% this quarter, and we're seeing growth both in the United States, but we're seeing a lot internationally. And that's been a big focus for us over the last couple years. We think inspiration is something that everyone in the world can use, and so we've been working to bring that to more and more markets. It
looks like I like the way that you are getting more, I guess it would be called machine learning, but also more visual. Mm-hmm. So if I want to take a trip somewhere, it's entertaining to go to Pinterest as opposed to just looking at something flat. You're not flat. How can you do that?
Well, Pinterest has always been visual. I'm a visual person. I think most people find it easier to take in. I'm not an artist.
Do you like to draw?
I love design. When I was a kid, I loved arts and crafts. Both my parents are ophthalmologists, so I don't know. Maybe that idea of being visual is kind of built into the company. But we've always thought that a picture is worth 1,000 words. They say that for a reason. And so if you can show someone an idea, they don't have to have the specific vocabulary to describe what they're looking for. And when we talk to people, they often have a really clear sense of what they love, but they don't have the exact words to describe. And I know I'm that way too. Like, I couldn't describe in just 3 keywords my favorite living room or the kinds of clothes I want. But if I see it, I can say, hey, I think that would be really cool.
Well, that's what's good. Talk about the onboard experience, because I actually find it pretty stimulating, because you make me come up with 5 things that are important to me. How'd you come up with that?
Well, we want to get started with something, right? So whenever you sign up for a new service, I always tell our team it's a little bit like a race. People sign up for things all the time. How quickly can we show you something that's going to inspire you? So you say, hey, this is worth doing more. So we pick 5 things, and then we show you a set of pins. And then as soon as you see a pin that really engages with you, that's when our recommendation algorithms kick in. And we invest a lot inside the company into machine learning to say, if you like this, we think you're really likely to enjoy that as well.
I mean, it does have that Amazon approach without being sterile.
Yeah, it's a little bit different because the way we do recommendations, it's all based on this idea of human collections. Right. So when you use Pinterest, what we ask you to do is save things into these collections that we call pin boards. And that curation data set is very different from the data set that an Amazon has, which is like people who bought this, bought that, or that Google has, which is people that clicked on this link, click on that link. We call that the taste graph, and it really is about taste. It's about your personal preferences. And so the quality of the recommendations feel very different.
You're from Des Moines area. Would you ever do something that is like someone who does in Omaha, Nebraska? Would you ever have an annual meeting where people would get together in your hometown?
We've done meetups all over the country. And actually, I went to Des Moines with my co-founder last year and just visited some pinners. But we've never done a big event. So it's something that maybe we should think about for the future.
Yeah, because you like to go to people's homes and learn, but people want to learn about you and they want to learn about each other. You would be the first company that I've seen that could recreate what Warren Buffett's done. Remember, he didn't do that for many years, but you could do it now, because people would come and they'd be entertained and they'd learn and they would be ambassadors.
We'll definitely think about it. I know early days, one of the most fun things we did is we did these informal meetups. And it was pretty cool because on Pinterest, you weren't there to make social connections, but it is true that when you get people together around a common hobby or around a common interest, they end up talking about things and learning things from each other. So we'll think about it for the future.
Well, I mean, the site is a me site versus some of the other sites that I won't even refer to right now, but they're them sites. How come me is so much more compelling right now? Because the them sites don't have the growth that you have.
I think that it's just been underserved historically. So obviously connecting with other people is a huge need. There are a ton of different ways that I can connect with my friends. There just haven't been that many services that are focused on your personal aspirations. So I don't think it's an either or. I think people naturally want to do both. But I think Pinterest is filling a hole that's been present in the market for a while.
Well, I am a huge believer in revenue growth. I really, at this point in your life cycle, would not care as much about how much is spent to get the revenue growth. Were you surprised that people seem to think that your spending was out of line in order to get revenue growth? And that's a misperception, isn't it? You need the revenue growth. That's a sign of health.
Yeah, I mean, we were really excited, and revenue grew 54%. And so we're definitely in the growth phase of our business. And we've tried to be very transparent and clear. And the reason that we think about being in the growth phase is we think we're really early on in our journey. We're early on here in the United States, where we're working with retail and CPG companies, but we want to expand to small and medium-sized businesses. And we're super early internationally, where 2/3 of our users are. So we went from 7 markets where ads can be bought to 13 markets this quarter. But really, we're just in the very, very first inning. We just hired folks on the ground.
Well, if that's the case, there could be some tension. Some people want you to make money. I don't. I want you to go to billion, then 2 billion, 3 billion. But I may be in the minority these days after what happened with Uber. How do you tell people, listen, making money right now is not our goal. What we want to do is be a dominant company worldwide?
You know, I think that it's actually not that complicated. No. You know, we've tried to just be really clear, and if you listen to our earnings calls or if you talk to the analysts that were there on the roadshow, we tried to be really transparent about our plans. And then we're a new company, so people will learn that over time, our approach will be to try to do what we say. So we're not trying to kind of set expectations artificially low and go above them. We're just trying to represent. So there's this little daylight between what we think about inside the company and the way that investors can make an educated decision on, you know, whether it's right for them.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when people saw the stock go down, they thought that something had gone wrong. I looked at it as the thing that went wrong were people who expected you to do something other than what you said, which was that we're going to do what's in the S1, which is the document. Maybe we can do a little bit better. I don't know what people expected, but you're not playing the game.
Well, we're trying to be transparent, and I think that the consistent thing you'll hear from me before this, after this, for the future, is that we really want to focus on the long term. And to us, the long term is pretty straightforward. We want to build the best place to get inspiration. We want to build the best personalization, the best visual discovery tools. And then we want to make sure that if you see something you like, we can actually help you make it into a reality. So if it's a product, you can go buy it. If it's a recipe, we can show you how to cook it, and you can get reviews on how that recipe turned out. If it's a place, we can get you there eventually. And so that vision, I don't think, is going to change for many years to come. And then we're going to do our best to pursue that in the best way possible.
I think it's great what you're doing. It's also humanity. It's kind of what we're supposed to do. You express, you can design, you can bring things to life. And I want to applaud what you've done, because it's really empowered everyday people to do things that are far beyond what they thought they could accomplish. So that's Ben Silbermann. He's co-founder and CEO of Pinterest. The symbol's PINS. Listen, go look at their letter. Their shareholder letter explains everything, and they're delivering on everything they promised. Thank you, Ben.
Hey, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.